Our next speaker is Johan Zammit, founder and CEO at Smart Studios. Johan is the founder and CEO of Smart Studios. He has over 20 years of experience in software development and the digital sector, and is also the man behind the Malta Innovation Summit. Let's all welcome Johan.
Good afternoon, everybody. As a Maltese, it's a big pleasure to see all these beautiful minds in the decentralized space, to see you all on our blockchain island. In the next 15 minutes, or actually Vlad asked me to do it shorter so that we can all run to lunch, I'm going to take you through a few challenges in building decentralized businesses, decentralized applications, and maybe also some ways of overcoming these challenges. So let's start. A bit about me. As you've heard, I'm the founder and CEO of Smart Studios. We mainly help organizations go from their idea into the actual implementation of their decentralized idea. I won't be telling you more about me. You can find me on LinkedIn or at smartstudios.io. In terms of the agenda, initially I will take you through some assumptions in implementing your decentralized ideas, and then we're going to go through 4 challenges. As you know, blockchain is in its infancy. Smart contracts are immutable, connecting blockchain to the outside world, and last but not least, security. So off we go. Let's actually start from the end of your ICO funding. So you've hit the market cap in 3 weeks. You have your 100 million, 200 million, and then you're ready for implementing. You throw a huge party. You wake up 2 days later. You read the white paper, and then you say, OK, what are we doing next after this party? So this is what we're going to focus on. To have any successful venture, whether in the crypto space or otherwise, you need 3 elements. You need a great idea, you need meticulous implementation of this idea, and you need super marketing. For this presentation, we're going to assume that you have a great idea and that you have super marketing. I'm going to pass the next 12 minutes speaking a bit about how you can have a meticulous implementation. Let's expand a bit on this. Apart from an amazing idea and super marketing, I'm going to do 10 other assumptions. I'm going to, apart from having the ICO funds, I'm going to assume that you have a solid implementation team so that you get going. I'm really hoping that you knew what you wrote in your white paper and you are ready to implement it. I'm hoping that you understood what tokenomics are all about. I'm hoping that it's not just the white paper and the money that you have, but you actually already implemented a working MVP. I'm hoping that you've done your market research, not only who your competitors are in the crypto space, but also what traditional businesses are doing to cope with the competition that's coming. I hope you have good lawyers. We've seen some good lawyers on stage today. There he is. I hope that you've incorporated your business in a reputable jurisdiction like Malta, if I can say. Long-term plan, let's go faster. That your idea actually can be implemented as a decentralized idea. That you've thought of intellectual property, domain knowledge, tax, banking, and the list goes on and on. So we're doing all these assumptions. This is the coolest thing I've seen the last 7 days on the net. We all start with a very detailed white paper. We sort of start implementing and trying to do the production of what we've written in the white paper, actually the actual product is not always exactly the same as the white paper. I'm going to, so that we go faster to our lunch, I'm going to skip this part about what are decentralized apps. If you would like to see examples, there's a site, State of the dApps. There are 1,500 examples of them. The key thing to remember is that most of a decentralized app is actually a normal app. Only a small part, usually, of your decentralized business will be stored on the blockchain. It's just the link between who owns that data and the timestamp of that data that will end up on the blockchain. I'm also going to skip this. We've already seen this. It comes from the CEO of Essentia. It's how we're moving from Web 2.0 to Web 3.0. I'm going to just focus on 4 challenges, starting with the first challenges. Whatever you tell me, we just saw Satoshi's in 2008, 10 years passed from Satoshi's paper. We've seen the growth of Ethereum. We're seeing the growth of other blockchains like Neo and EOS. Whatever you tell me, you must agree with me, I think, that the blockchain technology is in its infancy. The only way that we're going to cater for this in our implementation of our decentralized business is, this is, as I was actually saying, that there are a lot. This is the second most interesting image that I've seen on the net in the last 7 days. There are a lot of them, and the number is actually growing. What you need to do, first of all, is actually study the actual, don't just go for the most popular. 75% of the ICOs are actually built on Ethereum. That does not mean that you should jump and just go for Ethereum. Do your homework with the various blockchains and see, depending on their maturity, their security, about gas, about the speed, about security, match your requirements to the actual specifications of the blockchain that you want to build on. This is an example by Michael Barnard from Clean Technica, who did these radar charts. So you need to do something like this for your own project. So the solution when implementing to the fact that technology is very, very young is to build your solution, to build your decentralized business, to be blockchain agnostic. I know that this might sound, oh my God, I'm not even sure that if I can do it on one blockchain now, I need to do it on multiple blockchains. Yes. To start, you need to choose at least one. If you can, try to do it on multiple blockchains, but plan from day one to do it as blockchain agnostic. Do not, as I said, do not follow just the herd, do your homework, and then choose one or more than one. I can assure that future systems will not be one smart contract on one blockchain. The future will be multiple smart contracts on multiple blockchains. Let's go to challenge number 2. As you know, blockchain is a closed ecosystem. Part of the trust in the ecosystem comes from the fact that it's closed. Also, the smart contracts are a closed application, a closed program that runs on the blockchain. Actually, you can probably have heard this. If you haven't heard this, mark these words. Smart contracts are neither smart and neither contracts, but they are very, very useful for the future of decentralized businesses. So we don't have access to the external data. What are we going to do? The solution to this is oracles. Oracles connect the smart contracts to the outside world. Imagine that my smart contract needs to know what the weather will be at midday tomorrow. On its own, the blockchain, the smart contract, cannot get that data. Imagine my smart contract wants to know at what time a particular flight is going to land this afternoon at the Malta International Airport because of decentralized insurance. These examples can be achieved through oracles. And there are two kinds of oracles. Those that are software-based, sort of API-based, and those that are hardware-based. Think of RFID sensors, for example, with the door up there, and they send information to the blockchain. Now you're going to tell me, but wait, how are we going to trust the software API? We just trust the blockchain, and we do just trust the blockchain. The way oracles work is by having multiple sources of data, all bringing the same kind of data, and then you decide on the pool data. So you have multiple incentivized, independent, tamper-proof sources. Usually these sources are all rated, and then you take the decision whether tomorrow at midday it's sunny or not, whether a flight was delayed or not, based on the collective data. If you want to learn more, definitely Oracleize is the top brand in the industry of oracles. You can also check out Towncrier. There's also good examples with Augur and Gnosis, which you might have heard of, very popular decentralized projects, and they are in the prediction markets. That's 2 out of 4. Let's move to the last 2. The third challenge, we've all heard this. I'm sure that you've heard that the blockchain is immutable, and the smart contracts on top of the blockchain are immutable. This is a big, big plus for a decentralized environment. However, I'm sure you agree with me that in life, nothing goes first time around, and usually we would like to change something. So what are we going to do when we would like to add a bit of new logic, when we have a bug in our big smart contract that controls all our decentralized business? And the solution to this is that, yes, you can do versioning of smart contracts. Smart contracts can be upgradable. So to do this, like we said that we would like to have from day one our solution to be blockchain agnostic, from day one you need to think of having your smart contracts in an architecture that is upgradable. There are 2 approaches to do this. I don't have much time to explain to you more, but there are 2 approaches. One is that in front of your smart contracts, you do a proxy. The proxy receives the calls for the smart contracts, and then you can do multiple versions of the smart contracts, and the proxy knows which is the last version of the smart contract. The other approach is to divide your smart contract. Instead of doing the logic and the data in one smart contract, you divide them in 2 smart contracts, one taking care of the data, which still is immutable, and the other one taking care of the logic. And if we have a new piece of logic, or if we want to change the logic, we just upgrade the logic smart contract and leave the data smart contract as it was. The last but not least of our challenges is security. I think we all agree, if we have a grand idea, we do not want to end up in the newspapers for the wrong reasons. We don't want to be the next DAO where we have our smart contract hacked. The most important way of dealing with this challenge is through doing comprehensive smart contract auditing. First off, what a smart contract firm would do is to match what you wrote in the white paper to what actually you've delivered in your smart contracts. But they go much, much deeper than that. They do have a list of best practices where they check your smart contracts against these standards. They will uncover security flaws. There could be either intentional or intentional violations, depending on if you sort of did them specifically or they just happen to be there. Also, they are going to check the usage of gas, the non-adherence to standards, and they will give you a report of how good or not good your smart contract is. From there, you go on and improve your smart contract to make it compliant and also to make it compliant also with the regulatory requirements. For example, Malta, soon in a few weeks, will have its regulatory requirements, and all the smart contracts will need to be audited and will need to have certain requirements. I suggest you also use, you don't have to do it all on your own. There are frameworks like Open Zeppelin in terms of solidity and implementation on Ethereum that can help you control the freedom that you have. That's all from my end. Just a few takeaways and the summary of what we discussed in the last 15 minutes. I assumed and I made 12 big assumptions that you have a big idea, you have super marketing, you have good lawyers, you have everything. It might not be the case. So once you have the ICO funding, make sure that all those 12 assumptions that we went through are there. Then give special implementation to the implementation of your decentralized business. Aim to be blockchain agnostic. Put a plan for oracles because you will need data in and out. Plan your smart contracts to be upgradable from day one. And last but not least, every time you make an update on your production environment of your decentralized business, make sure you get an external company to audit your smart contracts. Thank you.